In case it flew under your radar, recent reports revealed that Melly's legal team has officially filed their final documents, pushing for his release on bond ahead of his trial in September. This time around, they're expressing strong optimism that he'll finally walk free while awaiting court proceedings. Meanwhile, Melly's mother is expected to soon share more details regarding his potential release.
We're still praying. I know I said I would I'll keep everybody updated with what's happening. I know right now we're waiting. So basically the judge is going to do, I guess, a written order. So we're just waiting, and that order can come any minute, or it could come tomorrow. I don't know. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So everybody just keep praying, keep having faith. Oh, Tessa, stop. I've been crying too. It's been a long time coming, you know.
Melly's attorneys have officially submitted a new bond request, hoping to secure his release ahead of trial. You decide if it's convincing enough. The legal team proposed an undisclosed bond amount, with financial backing promised by his label, 300 Entertainment. To ease the court's concerns, they laid out a strict plan. Melly would be placed under house arrest, monitored via an ankle bracelet, and protected by 24/7 private security. The proposal made waves. One rapper even tweeted, "That boy Melly, coming home, I feel it." Adding fuel to their argument, Melly's mother claims they now possess evidence showing he's been subjected to inhumane treatment while incarcerated, a violation of basic rights that could further sway the court.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
Melly's defense team is also preparing to revisit key evidence from the original trial, this time to challenge a major claim made by federal authorities. While prosecutors insisted the crime happened inside the Jeep with Melly involved, new GPS data tells a different story. According to the defense, the tracking evidence places Melly running down the street and ducking into nearby bushes at the time of the incident, a detail that directly contradicts the government's version of events.
I did the part where he's saying that someone just shut the car up and was trying to shoot them. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, there's cars coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some, yeah. He's like, yeah, there's some. I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Sack and Juvie? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're...
To reinforce their argument that the incident was a real drive-by shooting, not an inside-the-vehicle crime, the defense points to a critical detail from the original trial. No firearm was ever recovered at the scene. This supports their claim that the actual shooter fled with the weapon, aligning with the theory that the shots came from outside the vehicle as the perpetrator drove off.
The first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what was used.
Okay.
Melly's latest release proposal looked so solid that it sparked genuine concern among prosecutors, enough to trigger a new development in the case. Reports now confirm that a no communication order has been filed, effectively cutting off all contact between Melly and co-defendant Bortlin. That means no conversations, not even through legal teams. Prosecutors, however, are pushing hard to keep the two tried together in the next phase of the case. Why? Because trying them jointly is far more efficient for the state. Fewer resources, one streamlined process, and a higher chance of one defendant implicating the other. From a defense perspective, though, separating the trials works better. It opens the door for each party to shift blame and possibly dodge harsher outcomes. Despite the legal tug-of-war, some argue that automatic severance isn't warranted, especially since both are facing the same capital charges. The only real difference lies in the penalty phase, not the guilt phase. What makes the situation even more intense is that the state is only seeking the death penalty for Melly, not Bortlen. But that only comes into play if Melly is convicted in the first place. Prosecutors are banking on this difference to apply pressure. They believe Bortlen, knowing he didn't commit the entire crime, won't willingly accept a life sentence. The strategy? Make him crack under pressure and testify against Melly during trial. And honestly, that outcome isn't far-fetched, especially since in the first trial, Melly reportedly tried to pin the whole thing on Bortlen. Those accusations weren't just defense tactics, they were seen by many as outright lies. And now, Bortlen may finally decide to return the favor. Henry appears at Memorial Hospital, not in a waiting room or hallway, but behind the wheel of a car riddled with bullet holes and carrying 2 bodies inside. When he arrives, it's clear. Something's off. He's changed his shirt, and powder residue on his hands reveals he recently fired a gun. But that's not all. Henry isn't truthful about the details. He lies about where the shooting happened, how it unfolded, and even claims he didn't have a phone at the time. These inconsistencies only add to the weight of the case against him. It was Miss Bradley herself who pointed out that everyone carries a phone these days, except, apparently, Cortland Henry. Meanwhile, Henry's lawyer revealed that Bortlen consistently lied to federal investigators. Evidence showed powder residue on Bortlen's hands, but a closer look told a different story. A scene investigator testified that Henry's right hand had no particles typical of gunshot residue, only 2 two-component particles, while his left hand had just 1 particle characteristic of residue and 1 two-component particle. This nuanced detail raises important questions about who actually fired a weapon that day. So, what does all this mean? Simply put, there was gunshot residue found on Bortlen's hands, which clearly didn't sit well with him. After Melly's first trial ended in a mistrial, Bortlen took to Twitter, posting, "Mind games don't work on people like me," with a handshake emoji, almost like he was signaling readiness to make a deal. If the two end up on trial together, prosecutors plan to use Bortlen's interrogation footage from the night of the incident, where he's seen lying to police in an attempt to protect Melly. When asked, Bortlen's response was casual. "Tell me what happened, man. I was just playing music." Bortlen recounted that he was playing music and just getting off the exit, feeling sleepy and nearly home when suddenly he heard gunshots. Instinctively, he ducked down inside the car, nearly losing control and almost crashing. When questioned, further, he explained he had been coming from a studio session in Fort Lauderdale. He took I-595 to I-75 South to get home. However, as the officer listened closely, it became clear that Bortlen's story didn't quite hold up under scrutiny. Despite Bortlen's efforts to make his story sound believable, he quickly got caught in a lie. The difficult part, and what's baffling investigators, is that the entire area was locked down and searched thoroughly by officers walking shoulder to shoulder. Yet, they didn't find a single shell casing, no broken glass, or any evidence matching Bortlen's version of events. Nothing about his account adds up, which makes the situation all the more frustrating. When confronted, it felt like a classic case of 2 friends caught in a tangled story, but the truth was still elusive. "Friends, yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are your close friends, right?" the officer pressed. "And you're doing them a disservice by not telling us the truth." Bortlen insisted, "I'm telling you the truth, sir." The officer wasn't convinced. "How do you explain shell casings disappearing?" he challenged. Bortlen stumbled. "I don't know. How can I explain that?" As the interrogation grew more intense, Bortlen grew defensive. "I already told y'all the story, that's it. I'm done talking about it," he said, frustrated and unwilling to elaborate any further. I don't know, Bortlen repeated, clearly frustrated. The officer responded calmly, "All right, just so you know, if you don't want to talk anymore, there will be a lot more questions coming your way. We're not trying to upset you, it's just that we don't really know your friends. That's why we have to ask so many questions, to understand more about your friends, your lifestyle, their lifestyle, and the circumstances surrounding all of this." The officer emphasized, "The more you tell us today, the easier it will be to solve this." But sensing Bortlen wanted to shut down the conversation, the officer shifted tactics, asking different questions to encourage him to open up again. He inquired about Bortland's actions during the drive-by, how he was driving, whether he crashed into anything, and how he was ducking for his life while trying to stay safe. "I'm just trying to make sure I don't get hit," Bortland insisted. "I don't know all the details. I'm driving, focused on not getting shot, trying to stay alive. Why would I be worried about anything else? Look, I know this isn't easy for you to deal with, but if what you're saying happened there, then there should be some kind of evidence to prove it. There's supposed to be broken glass, just like the glass here when doors are opened," the officer explained. "There should be broken glass where the windows got shattered. You'd expect to find shell casings from the shooters near your car. There should be evidence, but right now, there's nothing." The officer seemed to have some idea of what happened, but knew the conversation was dragging on. Growing more direct, he finally asked Bortland, "If you know who did this, would you tell me?" the officer urged him. "Just tell me the truth, even if it's something I don't want to hear. I respect honesty more than BS. It's a simple question. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? Just a yes or no." Bortland hesitated, but replied honestly, "No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to be part of it. I just wouldn't want to get involved." At that moment, Bortland simply shook his head, too scared to say the word aloud, his body language betraying the lie he hoped to hide from the officer. Meanwhile, the case takes another turn. Melly's ex-girlfriend, Mariah Hamilton, has finally returned to the United States after years abroad and is now being brought in to testify against him. Today marks her first day at Broward County Jail, despite having no prior arrest record, until now. Border Patrol agents took Mariah Hamilton into custody at Miami International Airport on Monday, shortly after her arrival on an international flight. Court records reveal that Mariah was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial back in 2023. In a deal brokered by the judge, she agreed to testify against Melly in exchange for her release. She accepted the terms quickly and later posted on Facebook, "Thank you to my village. I love y'all so much. God's plan, not mine." Disturbing evidence was uncovered in Mariah's iCloud account, showing that Melly allegedly pressured her not to testify in the trial, a crime known as witness tampering. This offense carries a potential life sentence, regardless of whether Melly involves Sack Chaser and Juvie. The state has now filed 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others accused of being involved. These charges include witness tampering, directing criminal activities, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Several of the new charges against Melly carry the possibility of a life sentence if he's convicted. Importantly, the witness tampering case is separate from the existing charges related to Sack Chaser and Juvie's deaths. Because of the alleged tampering using jail phones, Melly has been barred from using them for nearly a year. The situation became so serious that his mother, Jaime King, spoke out in an interview exposing conditions at the county jail. She emphasized, "My son hasn't been convicted of anything yet, and even other inmates who have been convicted still have the right to use a telephone. Inmates have the right not only to make phone calls but also to send letters and receive their mail. However, Melly's mail has been withheld from him. If the evidence is accurate that Melly used jail phones for witness tampering, that would explain why authorities have restricted his access. They likely have solid proof stored away for the trial, as they wouldn't ban him from using phones based on mere suspicion." Still, despite all this, the judge remained open to the possibility of releasing him. The judge even invited Melly from jail to appear in court and speak about the details of his case. Then, prosecutors were given one last chance to present evidence, supporting why he should remain behind bars. Things didn't look good for Melly as they began with damning proof from his phone. Hours after the crime, he sent a text message that appeared to be an admission. On Melly's phone, a message from the PC Gambino account asked if he was okay, to which Melly replied, "I did that," followed by a smiley face emoji. Later, at 4:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the YNW Melly account sent another message saying, "What after that, Shay Chach." Additionally, investigators found a saved video from a Facebook live stream capturing Melly and Bortland's reactions to the crime just 6 hours after it happened. Despite everything that occurred early that morning, Melly was still out there, maintaining a surprisingly positive and turned attitude. Despite everything, Melly was still turned, showing no sign of sadness for his two best friends. However, new evidence came from a former YNW member who claimed Melly's motive was tied to money, specifically that Melly didn't want to share finances with the other YNW members. When asked if Vaughn had really told him this, the insider replied, "Melly didn't come out and say it outright, like, we had an argument, but sometimes people say things without saying them. He told me once I posted that V was mad at me, and he asked why I put that up." The insider explained. "I told him, you know the love we have, why would you do this to us?" But he said his two friends were trying to extort him. When asked why Melly stayed around if that was true, the insider added, "That was supposed to be a secret Melly told King Vaughn, but sadly Vaughn shared it with other O-Black members before he passed." It's worth noting that YNW is registered. As a business, Melly and Bortland earned money through concerts, merchandise sales, and promotional deals, but Sack Chaser and Juvie demanded a share despite not contributing any effort. Meanwhile, the funds in the YNW bank account appeared to be dwindling. Amid the trial, Melly's mom made headlines when she revealed she had started a fan account to support him, sparking a wave of attention online. So much so that even DJ Academics weighed in on the buzz. So, YNW Melly's mom announced she's starting a fan account, and honestly, it's got people puzzled. DJ Academics shared his thoughts, saying, "I just don't get why she's doing this right now. Her son is fighting for his life." He pointed out that in hip-hop, there are some moms who also want the spotlight once their sons hit stardom, like Blueface's mom, for example. The dynamic between Melly and his mom definitely has people talking. "I always found their relationship interesting, but I never expected his mom to take this step. If you're wondering whether she's doing it for money, DJ Academics insists it's not about the cash. Still, social media seems to disagree. In a recent interview with No Jumper, Vime and Jamie King revealed that Melly's brother admitted to spending a lot of money on frivolous things, probably including expensive lawyers. According to him, Melly blew money on cars, jewelry, and other things he didn't even get to enjoy. "I'm like, why are you buying jewelry when you're not even here to wear it?" someone remarked. Definitely, lawyers are the best investment right now. That's what I think. But Melly's good with lawyers. Money isn't really an issue there. Still, there were plenty of other expenses that should have gone toward legal fees but didn't. It's like he just doesn't even want to wear chains anymore. Meanwhile, it's important to recognize what Jaime King has been going through. Starting a fan account might also be her way of coping, giving her something to focus on during this difficult time. During Melly's original trial, we all witnessed moments where he repeatedly asked if she was okay, showing a glimpse of concern despite everything unfolding around them.